Yeah. Get them tuned up here. I put some new ropes on this thing for you guys joining us. Some new guitar strings. I've been working on my stereo tone live too. It sounds so good in the studio, but I got my two Bellas and I got two of those Mesa cabinets set up to work on my studio tone or my live tone to get it to sound like I like it in the studio. Get them tuned up, yeah. New ropes, gotta have them. Good afternoon, everyone. Telly Tuesday. Something's popping. Let's see if I can turn this. I think I got something on. Let's turn that off. Yeah. That sounds nice. Yeah. Lucas is in the house. Coop's in the house. How's those guitar levels? How's everything sounding to you guys? Let me turn the guitar up just a touch, just a sniff on my end. It shouldn't affect you guys. Let's see how this works. Hello, music lovers. Yeah. String gauge is a nice one to start with. String gauge is, or the company is Diodario. I like Diodario. I've played Diodario strings for years, so. A lot of that, a lot of Diodario. Constantly messing with gauges depending on how my hands are feeling and the guitars and the tension. One of the big things for me is the Floyd Rose versus the 510 really alters the tension and the feel to me. So the half gauge feels nice on that right now. The 9.5, right? That feels good on the Floyd. What I'm using on this is 9 on the top end and down to like the 46. So it's like the split gauge. I like that right now. Yeah. Sounds good with all kinds of different gain structure too. Sounds pretty good. Would be like a good kind of a grassy thing, right? Cool. Yeah, I think they're getting stretched out, right? All right, cool. Man, so we got the wood buck. Yeah, these are the pickups that we're like kind of affectionately referring to as the wood bucker. This is a set that's just, right now, it's just a kind of a one-off set that John did for me. Really like them, though. Some specs probably be coming out here pretty soon. I don't want to talk too much on them in case some stuff starts coming out. I'm not sneaking the answers ahead of time, right? So how's everybody doing today on a lovely Tuesday afternoon? All right? Everybody good? Thanks for hanging out. I was kind of chatting with the Vidami team, and we thought it might be cool to start talking about what player, would I, and this is going to make my channel become very high risk if I live stream this stuff to the copyright strikes and things like that. But like, what would be a live musician that, like, not a live musician, what would be a musician that you would like to see me kind of analyze, not necessarily do a transcription like Levi. Levi's so good at that. He's got the software and the skill set and the ears, and he's just so good at that world. I thought it might be cool to be like, how do you play in the style of somebody without necessarily playing their licks, right? I think that would be kind of fun. Who would you like to see? What kind of stuff would you like to see in there? We go, getting the chat rolling around, just zoning out, doing some picking. Thanks to Vidami for bringing this together, as always, every week. We couldn't do these streams without him. This is a Vidami. While I'm scoping the chat, you can scope this thing out. Vidami Blue right here, Bluetooth to your phone, your iPad, what have you. Super easy to control things like YouTube and TrueFire, slow down those things, keeping your hands on the guitar, never having to touch the keyboard and the mouse. You can loop it, you can slow it down, you can pause. It's really a fantastic learning tool. Can't recommend it enough. I love that thing. And here's a side note, I use it when I'm cooking. I love to grill, right? So you get your hands all messy. And, you know, and you don't want to be touching your iPad when you're watching some kind of like cooking thing, so you could set that down on the ground. I do it. It's good. It's good for that. That's not a music thing. I'm just finding different ways. I do like to cook. Who likes to grill? You guys like to grill out? You guys culinary experts? I love that stuff. I'm ready for that weather to just get warm, stay warm, so I can just get out on that patio and do it, man. Marcus is saying practicing Junktown like crazy for days. Yeah, that's I've been adjusting my tones a little bit for that, to where it's like I'm kind of looking at the verse as like this BB preamp kind of thing. Because here's the deal, like live, I have to consolidate everything to one guitar sound, one rig. And in the studio, I used one amp and single coils for the verses, and then I used humbuckers and another rig for the solo. So this is kind of the tone I'm using for that, to consolidate it down. So that's nice. And then I go to this for the... That's always a fun thing. I love that. Maybe a little less topic. Yeah. That's nice right there. I like that tone. So that solo is fun to play through, and I use a lot of like altered stuff. Those kind of lines. I like, let's see. Let's see, what would be one? I'm trying to do it out of context. Yeah, those kind of things. So you're using those kind of diminished things. Right, so root up it, that thing, right? I use a lot of the diminished too, where it's built around the root. I use that in there a lot when I'm doing like I think there's a lick. Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun one that I do in the solo. One time. It's kind of hard to play it all out of context and make a bite-sized version, but here's one. Oh, it sounds kind of like a seesaw back and forth. It's kind of whimsical too. One more time, slow. Kind of some fun ideas that I use in there's that same kind of all that diminished stuff. Good stuff you can kind of snag to work on that when you're working on that solo to Junktown, because it's just kind of, just kind of a flat groove, and then it goes up to the beat. That's where I do like usually do some double stops, some stuff like that, or maybe like this is a good one that in one of the studio versions I did. So it's like one, it comes in on the and one. kind of soaring, the soaring lead part. Kind of fun. So I'm at the strings here. Just gonna sniff around through the chat here. Welcome everyone. Albin's saying hi from New Zealand. That's freaking awesome. He's saying how to get that big airy kind of sound. How do you set your delay and reverb? Right now I have no reverb on. What you're hearing is the delay as kind of emulating a reverb in a lot of ways. If I just strike it by itself over time, you know. So the big thing is you get one side rolling it like a dot. Basically, you're trying to get the dotted eighth. 3 against 4, I think is what it is. Dotted eighth kind of thing. First one around 500 milliseconds. The second one around 350, 375, something like that. And I usually get it to where they bounce out of order. And then when they line up is where I have the feedback cut off, like the amount of repeats. And they kind of pan off together at the very end. So when you start playing something nice, like a ballad, you know. It's nice because it builds a sound. You know, something I've learned from Timmons is like building a sound around the note to where it doesn't get in the way if you play fast. Sloppy, but you get the idea, right? It's like if I start doing a lot of picking, it doesn't really give away, you know. And also, it's like when it's around it on each stereo side of like left and right, it's a thing where the dry signal has got a place to live in the spectrum of the sound, right? Like you never like question it, like what I'm playing. It's almost like there's this stuff living around the chord guitar sound. And it's a term I use a lot when I'm talking like to my buddy Ben, we're always talking about like the fundamental sound, the raw. So like you can have a lot of effects, they can't be walking on the fundamental tone. And that's like kind of my goal, is to have that tone that's nice and fundamental and forward. Like when I take away the delay, you know, it's like you still, same thing, right? Add it in. And it's like the guitar, sorry, still sounds like it's fundamentally there. I built this sound the other day with John. John's in the house. This kind of like Leslie thing. Sounds nice. Let me put the bell on so you kind of hear it with that. Kind of got that thing, you know, I love that. It sounds nice. I like to have a little fun with those kinds of sounds from time to time. But again, it's all about my main core sounds. Here's my main clean. And you just right on the verge of breakup, you can hear it. But the moment I bring it out of a humbucker, it's crispy clean, you know. And with clean, like low output single coils, it's real clean, you know. So that's like my main clean tone. Then I have the Belle and the Woodshed compressor. Then I have the BB in the Woodshed. Then, you know, the gearbox is set for kind of like that darker EJ thing. And I've got the Andy Timmons pedal set for like full metal. So that's more gain than I use most of the time, but I have it on there just in case. Yeah. Let's see, Marcus is saying, I'd really like to hear your thoughts about the Eric Johnson part cross-picking section at the end of the second part of Junktown, starting from the A major, those arpeggios. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That thing, right? So maybe we, I mean, do we just play through the tune, kind of get to listen for it? I'm not warmed up, so this is probably gonna not sound very good. Let me find my. I run my aux off of my iPad, so it's kind of sitting in the way. Let me open up another window here. Get these backing tracks. This might not be the best version ever. But, you know, we'll play it, see what we got going on. Check this tuning real quick. And then we can talk about like what it is that those arpeggios that you're looking at. And yeah, they're very Eric Johnson, that tall triad thing that EJ uses. How's this? outside. Click. Right. That's the one I taught you earlier, right? No, don't start playing, band. Oh, that band that I got right there, they never mess up. I do, but they don't. So yeah, let's talk about those. So at the end of that B section, I'm kind of calling it it's actually quite simple. I'm just taking the same motif and moving it a whole step down. So you get the chord changes. A, E, G, D, E. Yeah. And E's acting as a flat 7 to F sharp. Using a lot of that flat 5 around those improvisations. I hope that's helpful. One more time, in case you want to use your old Vidami to slow it down. One more time. And because like F sharp and A share so much tonality, that's why I'm using that A major to flat 7, then dropping that, right? Then, so that's like A to its 5 chord, which is E, and then drop it down G to its 5 chord, which is D. And that's kind of how I'm going at it. Apologies for any tuning discrepancies in that last song. Still a little questionable. The old new rope rig. That's better. Okay. Josh asked me if I've been using the Wampler Belle. I am. I love it. It's right here. Here it is. Nice for that like throaty kind of thing. Like we're doing like maybe what hurts the most? Yeah. That thing. That for that singable own. Those kind of really nice. It's like where I want it to have just some push, but not like a lot of gain. And it matches nice with the compressor. Checking it out on Marcus says checking it out on Patreon. How should I approach the cross picking? The cross picking, it's not truly cross pick, it's actually hybrid pick. Watch the right hand in your main camera right here. So, down, middle. So, that's something I was working on when I wrote for the Queen, that part. Kind of like arpeggios. I don't remember the exact chords. Maybe it was that. I think that's the right chords. I haven't played this song in forever. Was it? That's right. So it's like, I need to relearn this song. I haven't played it in years, man. It's really pretty. I need to relearn all the correct chords to that. It seemed like it had a lot of parts. Seemed like there was something like that in there. Something really weird that happened as far as some kind of key change, and I do not remember how it goes. If anybody knows how to play that, post a video of it and tag me so I can relearn it. A lot of people that are, whoa, the super chat just lit on fire. Holy cow. Man, wow. Okay, so I just lost my spot, but that's okay. I just touched the trackpad and it went down too far. A lot of great names here. Some Roy Nichols, Sean Lane, Eric Johnson. What are my thoughts on Derek Trucks? Tim, that's a great one. I love Derek Trucks. Here's some thoughts on how to kind of emulate some of that stuff without a slide. So like if you have, maybe we could do this. Let's go bank up. Add a little tremolo to the situation, right? This might be kind of nice. So one of the tricks that I'm using to do those kind of licks all starts with the very first thing that you play. I'm going to turn off the delay and add some reverb. Slide players have this muting thing that's always going on in their right hand. And I've always thought that like this stuff that you hear always made it sound right. Check out the difference. Versus immediately it sounds more like a slide like that. So once you get the first kind of attack thing, there's the other way that he attacks with those kind of licks, right? Where you're like literally like coming at it down like that. Those are very like Derek in when he's like at the building the sound the biggest kind of thing. Okay, so part 2 of that would be what takes place in the left hand, which would be these microtonal bends to like emulate the slide being dropped onto the strings and just micro pulled into tune. Because he's not going, it's not like dead on like that, right? It's got like a little, that thing. You do a little bit with a bar too, you know, you have like but I'm trying to do it without using the bar because I play so many hardtail guitars. He does that really nice. I use a lot of this thing to kind of emulate the back and forth, the slow. And like letting a note ring out and slide down the bottom one. And then from the last part of that, the very last thing you would do would be putting everything on one string instead of going you do nice and easy, nice and graceful. That'd be like a really nice way to kind of emulate that, baby. And you really gotta mute the bottom strings with the back of your left hand and let those vibratos kind of have that glassiness and that air on them, right? sorry to get off topic, but you kind of hit me with that Derek Trucks thing, and man, that's something I really love. And you can incorporate a lot of this stuff real subtle into your basic blues playing, right? If you have that line right there, you know, like that, just putting it all on one string, you know. That's just so nice and musical, you know. Now that's a little more advanced, where you can have a little micro bend in front of each one of them. You know, that'd be another one where you just kind of like bend it into that major third. Sorry. That'd be like another way that I use it to get in and out of my regular playing. And then you start blending in that Eric Johnson thing. Some cool stuff, right? That's a little more of a throatier kind of tone. That's the Belle. It's, like I said, a little darker, a little fatter, a little meaner. Not gain-wise, but a little meaner in the EQ. That's a thing I'd like to talk about for a second. When you're looking for something to be ferocious, it's an EQ thing most of the time. It's not like, hey, I need more distortion to be brutal. It's like, are you cutting? Is it slicing? Is it poking? We did Skank Banger Saturday night. Ben brought in his new EL34 Van Halen head. It's great. It sounded great. So much gain, so much bottom end. When we were dialing the tones at the beginning of the show, we were kind of messing with it, playing with it. I was just taking the knobs. It's one of my favorite things to do when I see a new amp or get a new amp or a friend gets a new amp is take the mid knobs, take the bass knobs, sweep them. Like, that's the only way you can find out what they're grabbing. And the resonance on the back does more for the EVH Marshall, the EL34 amp, than I noticed that the low end does. The low end, like, you just kind of roll it all over the place and just kind of did this thing. Whereas the resonance made like this really ridiculous. It made this tone where it was so big and loose that, like, when you're playing by yourself, you're like, whoa, that's so mean. And then the moment it's like a band plays, it's like nothing. But he mentioned in his in-ears were on monitors. He's like, I got to hear myself too good. And it's like that, like, punch thing. Again, why I like 100-watt amps. Punch and that is not related to more distortion. That's a tough thing to hear. I struggled with it when I was growing up. I would always think, man, why has this not got enough gain? And I'll play by myself, on any kind of Line 6 Spider or like Axe Effects kind of super high gain tone. It's like, yeah, it's like, it just falls out. The tone just, the playing is so easy. Then you realize the moment a band plays, you can't hear yourself, and you keep turning up and turning up and turning up, and you don't realize just how loud and stupid that tone is because it can't be heard. There's no punch on it. It's a tough thing to get your ear around, like what those frequencies are that cut good. They don't feel good necessarily to play on a lot of times, but they cut through. With that said, that EL34 100-watt EVH is awesome. Like, I like it so much better than the 50 watts. That's just me. But I play the 100-watt. I've got a Gen 1, the first version of the 5153 in it, and I love it because the blue channel, the gain it doesn't have as much gain, and I love that about it. Really, really good. Chris Poland, man, a lot of people talk about Chris. He's great, man. Sean Tubbs, Knopfler, Scotty Anderson, Steve Lukather. Wow, yeah, great players, man. I'll take note of this and kind of dig into it and see what might be fun. I guess I dug into the Derek Trucks thing pretty deep today because I love Derek Trucks, right? Buzzy Featon. You know, it's interesting, Mac. You bring up Buzzy Featon. I know a lot about what he brought to the table for intonation and some of his designs, but I don't know a lot of his playing per se. But I know I would assume from his reputation that he's pretty killer. Faustian Man says, give the channel a thumbs up, helps the algorithm. That's true. If everyone wouldn't mind to just hit the thumbs up, hit the subscription, the bell, all that stuff, that helps me so much. It helps you get my content, right? If you're interested. If you're not interested, then I by all means, maybe you should check out, some other channels. But if you're interested in what I do, then yeah, hit that bell notification stuff. I'm checking out the chat here. That's why I'm kind of staring off into the distance. What would you say are your top 3 Andy Wood signature licks that set you apart? Signature is an interesting thing. It's not really in a lick thing, but it's in a delivery. One of the things that I really deliver is like a lot of these fiddle tune style lines. Where I'm going from major to minor and I'm picking a lot of the notes, right? Like obviously alternate picking is a big part of what I do. Cross picking is a big part of what I do, and now I've been incorporating the cross picking and the hybrid together. It makes some of that Steve Morse stuff easier to do standing up. So like when you're playing the Steve Morse stuff sitting down, right? It's achievable. At least I feel like it's achievable sitting down, or with your guitar really up, like dorkishly high, right? Yeah, I can do those things, right? But when I stand up and the guitar gets to what, a little bit more of a normal playing, the hybrid thing where I'm going makes some of that stuff a little more achievable. So I would think how I use hybrid playing, which was as a means to an end to sound like Brent Mason, because Brent plays with fingerstyle, and I was learning some of his arpeggios. Those licks. Obviously I don't sound like Brent, but I've incorporated a lot of his playing into mine. So that blend, I think that's what is really my thing, more than anything. Blending the Southern thing with it's pseudo Southern. It's not Southern enough to be country. It's not metal enough to be metal. It's not fusion enough to be fusion. It's in the middle kind of all of that. That's really what I think my thing is. Like a song like Junktown or Forgotten Secrets. Forgotten Secrets has got that like kind of pseudo chicken picking intro. Mixed with a little bit of that Tool kind of thing, right? Like those kind of licks that you would hear in Tool. That's not a Tool lick. They're in drop D. I'm not going to drop D. Don't judge me. But that kind of thing, I love the 10,000 Days record. So that's what that was inspired by. And the the back in the middle of that tune has that really signature melody that's very, I think, me in a nutshell. That thing is very fiddle tuney, but there's distortion on it. There's it's kind of my thing. I feel like that's a good tone. That's like, or not a good tone, a good idea of like what I consider a me thing. So yeah, all right. Sliding on through the chat here, wrapping it up. If you want to learn any of this stuff, yet again, let's take 2 seconds to shout out for Vidami. I want everyone to do me one favor right here. If you have Vidami, let me know in the chat with a thumbs up. Just put it in the chat. If you don't have one, let me know, why. Is it a thing where your ear is so good you don't need it? Is that a thing? I'm just curious. When I discovered this thing, it's made the assimilation for me of learning songs just go by a lot quicker. I'll tell you why. It's very specific to me. This is something that only exists to me. When I'm learning something on YouTube, I use a trackpad, right? Like that. And I always end up moving the arrow to the wrong spot. And I'm just like, nah, damn it. No, I'm at the wrong spot again, right? So Vidami has been super helpful for me with that pause function and just the back. My most used buttons are pause and back. I'm just like, stop right there. Okay, go back. Okay, let it play. Go back. All right, and then you can slow it down if you need to. But it's a fantastic device, and I love the fact that they are allowing us to put this on weekly. That's really important. I would not be able to do this on a consistent basis. Obviously, you guys have kept up with me and my channel and my antics. And you know how busy I am. We did this week. We did Skank Banger on Saturday. I played the Opry before that, and then I am doing Mark Letary on Tuesday, and then I'm going out to the West Coast with Gary LeVox from the Flats, and it's just like I wouldn't be able to force the time and just be like, all right, we're 100% going to do this weekly without the support from Vidami. And it was a really organic way we came about. When I met those guys, I already had it. I already had the device. So it wasn't like they actually said, hey, have you heard of us? And I was like, yeah, I actually have. I have it. It's awesome. So we got brainstorming on how we could put something together for you guys and create this hang every week. And it's been a blast. We're 8 in on this weekly hang. Telly Tuesday, right? I'm gonna start calling it Telly Tuesday from the Woodshed. Always doing the Telly thing. I've got a boat right out of frame here that's got a Strat and a Collings 335 in it, But I end up playing a Telly. It's just kind of what's home to me. Let's just keep rolling through here. Are you using a compressor in front of the distortion? Jackson, not most of the time. I use the compressor in front of light gain and medium gain. So like when I step on the BB preamp maybe, or like when I'm stepping on the Bell, yeah. But when the gearbox comes on, or when the Andy Timmons pedal comes on for the super shred stuff, I don't use any compression there. Compresses enough as it is. So you don't need to bring sand to the beach, as they say. In one of your Patreon videos, you have a Rascal Flatts Rolling Stones tour poster. Do I have a good Rolling Stones story? Michael, that's funny. The answer is we got to open for the Stones. We as in Rascal Flatts. Obviously, I'm a hired gun in that scenario. But nonetheless, on the gig, it was the first gig that they did. It was the first musical event that wasn't like a national anthem or whatever. And that poster's right here. It's the first musical event that happened inside the Brickyard. Now, those of you guys that know me and follow me on like Twitter, I don't really do a lot of music stuff. It's a lot more like video games and, that kind of ranting and raving. Cars. I love cars. I love sports cars. I love muscle cars. I love exotics. I love mid-engine cars. I love cars, man. And so for the Brickyard and its lineage and Indianapolis and like what that is for, motor racing, and motorsports and things, I love it. So to be a part of that lineup was unbelievable. The event was, 100,000 people inside the Brickyard. It looked laughable when you just looked out across. It was just a sea of people. And Rascal Flatts got to open. They only had 2 acts. It was Rascal Flatts and the Rolling Stones. And it was a blast. I mean, what else can you say? It's like, man, I stood there and Keith Richards came out. It's just like, wow, he's real. It's almost like there's that sense of like, we build this almost fake air around guys like Jimmy Page or Keith Richards, where it's like you're almost like they're so mythological or Herculean or Arthurian or whatever in legend that it's not even like they're a real person. Then you see them, you're like, wait, that's a real dude. There he stands. He's getting ready to go on stage play, it's the most iconic songs in history. And a telly slinger, which I do like. The Telecaster player. I like that. That's my story, man. Nothing really nothing crazy, but it was amazing. Yeah. Nowadays, rock bands no longer seem to be party guys. Those guys are older. So like when I met them, they're all in their 70s. There wasn't no like madness. So yeah, man, a lot of good chat over here. Timmonsy type feel. I think music is interesting because we pick up the dialect. It's very much like a language, and we pick up the dialect of the people we're around. If you ever notice, you start saying things your buddies say, and I know me and Ben say the same stuff all the time. That's happened with me doing so much around and being around AT. He's been a great mentor. I call him he's like my Obi-Wan Kenobi, like Timmons is Obi-Wan, and he's shared so much information with me. Just not really like some kind of secret, because he says the stuff in any Premier Guitar Rig rundown. It's not like there's some kind of secret button to sound like him. All of the stuff that he uses is available for sale at Sweetwater. Not like any kind of crazy secret sauce. But he's just got this. He's got this like presence to him when he walks in the room. Like you know it, right? His music is like that. It's like a softness and a peacefulness, but it's very authority. Like you just know that presence is in the room. And when he plays the guitar, he has that. And I've been a fan, and I've absorbed as much as I can from hanging out with him and just being in the room with him when he's in the zone. It's like, man, that's the thing, right? It's like watching Jordan play in his prime or something, And that's the case with so many guys, like Brent. Early on in my career, when I was getting my teeth kicked in every night by Guthrie Govan on the Sir Clinics, I was a young pup. I was 25 years old, brand new to the game. And here's Guthrie Govan in his 30s at the time, murdering, like at the pinnacle of his fighting weight, just viciously murdering the world. And I was doing the Sir Clinics with him, and I was just like, it was like going 10 rounds with Ali every night. He's one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. So that was one of those pinnacle kind of moments for me in my learning. But being around Timmons for the past few years, Mark Lettieri as well. Mark has been such a creative force sonically, where he goes for these, like, he's very much a texture guy. Nobody loves a funky, weird pedal more than him, and like fuzz and all this stuff. So he's been a big inspiration too. So I take you guys over here saying that it sounds Timmonsy. I'm going to take that as a compliment, especially when people are like, oh, Timmons or EJ, and people say that. It's like, yeah, well, you're the company you keep, and I mean that not like I'm them. I mean that like, there's no way you can be around people like that, of that level, and not absorb. There's no way. It's just too inspirational. So, and for me, one of the things that was always powerful was how Timmons can have loads of effect on. By that I mean like delay and stuff, predominantly delay, and it never was in the way of the guitar. So that's probably one of the biggest things I ever learned from him. And just building a phrase, making something melodic, playing something memorable, not just playing something fast. Bruno Tellis here says, on your albums, do you get your sound with an amp or a plug-in? Always amps. I'm an amp guy. I think plugins are great. I'm not saying that I'm not going to use them, but I'm an amp fan. There's something about that magic, dude. I want to hear that. Just that right there. I want to hear that before I track. That's not noise to me. That's an amp in a room that's cranked. Like that's 50 watts or 100 watts of like a breathing thing. I love that. That's inspirational to me. So a lot of my things that I latch onto are very much anchored in inspiration for me. What inspires me? That's why I always say, man, I don't really practice. I mean, I should, but it's like, I just play the guitar, I just go for that. Ethan, what's up? Hope everything's well. Let's see here. Look in here. Yeah, there's some Leslie. Man, the chat's rolling. Here we go. Here's ones with sessions with Jeff. Sun is just coming up, and I've made it for a little of the live show. Hi from Australia. Jeff, thank you for the beer money in the bucket. As long as this Ukraine situation is going on, I'm going to be donating this money that you guys donate in the chat to those who need help. Those who are less fortunate than us, right? Guthrie licks. That's a big thing. Area 59, you make a say where's it? Guthrie licks. Guthrie's magic is not in licks. If you ever watch any of those like videos where he's teaching licks, it's cool, but it's never the magic. Guthrie's magic is in the phrasing, how he puts it together and how he weaves those things in and out. If you could assimilate all of his licks instantly, and I mean not you specifically, I mean us, if we could all just like snap our fingers and play his licks, we still wouldn't sound like him, and we still wouldn't have that magic. All the licks can be achieved. Like that's why I'm such a fan of the Vidami and what we've got going on, because it's like you can learn any lick on the planet with this little thing. This little blue box will, and if you have patience, determination, and that little blue box and an internet connection, there's no lick that you can't learn. Every lick is available, but you got to know what to do with it. You can't just be all dressed up and know where to go. You got to make music. You got to write songs. I'm in the middle of writing a new record, and you gotta make music with it. That's the point of music. It's not about licks or athleticism, because how many guitar players do we see that have all the chops on the planet, and then when we're done, we can't remember any of their stuff? Like we're doom scrolling. You know, you're like, wow, that guy's incredible, and you just flip, and you're just like, what did he play again? And you don't remember it, right? Versus hearing a really iconic song. Like that's why we use the term Timmonsy, Eric Johnson-y. It's not the licks, it's the songs. Like I can immediately think of like several Timmons things off the top of my head. You know, the and the that one's one. Even in the heavy stuff, you know, was the like those are songs. Those are not licks. And when I think of Guthrie, you know, I still think songs there too, you know. That's a song, man. Like that's got power. That's not a lick. So Guthrie licks. I think if you're interested in Guthrie's music, as we all are, dig into the other things. Dig into the songs. All those melodies that he plays on the Erotic Cakes records are super memorable. Yeah, dude. Learn those melodies. Bosch414 is asking, who are my main influences? I've been listing them all day. Like everybody in the chat. Like I love all those players. Marcus says, this works so much better with hybrid playing on the Junktown riff. Yeah, cheers. Boom. Yeah, instant gratification. 100 watt amps are not always welcome in smaller clubs. 100 watt. Andrew Bettis, right here. 100 watt amps are not welcome in smaller clubs. I'm going to disagree with you hard. Hard. Okay, you ready? Solutions to 100 watt amps come in two formats. And I want to debunk something. The audible difference between a 50 watt amp and a 100 watt is only about 8 decibels when they're both wide open. It's not much. Like 8 decibels, it's not, wattage is not volume. Loud is loud, right? Like a twin, loud. A deluxe is 25 watts and it can rip your face off. So what are the solutions to megawatt amps and big tube amps? Just big loud stage volume. Those shields that they sell, I just bought 2. Those like Joe Bonamassa shields, after sitting in with him, seeing how much they diffuse and deflect, I'm like, yeah, buying that. That's awesome. I got 2 of the 212 size one, and I'm hoping that they're tall enough to like cover a 412 if need be. Option number 2, the Boss Waza top box attenuator. That's your answer. Done. Boss top box. Attenuator is the jam. I love it. I've got it in my living room. So my house sits on top of the studio, and I keep my EVH, my white EVH half stack in the living room. And to the dismay of my neighbors, it is very loud. But I use the Boss attenuator, and I dial the amps on like kill, just stun. You know what I mean? And I run the Boss attenuator down to speaking volumes. I don't have to have any pedals on the amp because the delay is built into the, you can have delay and reverb in the Boss unit if the amp has it or not. Dude, it's the way. This is the way. So that's my favorite attenuator piece of gear. Yeah, it's a glowing review for that thing. I'm such a fan. Yeah. Okay, so rolling down the chat, we're over budget, as they say, a little over budget in the industry, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and finish out a couple of questions. Thank you guys. Thank you, Vidami, as always, for bringing us together, making the world a smaller place here on a Tuesday afternoon, on a Telly Tuesday. Super fun hangs. Jimmy Herring is amazing. Scott Henderson, Jeff Beck, you guys are just naming like beasts. Yeah, everyone is awesome. These people are freaking awesome. Oh, yeah, seeing some thumbs up, man. Love to see it. Love to see it, man. A lot of people in here got their Vidamis. Amazing. Michael Glickman, I'm going to give you a discount code that's going to get you 10% off. Use Woodshed 10 on the Vidami website. That goes for everybody. Michael's the first one that I see that says they don't have it. So use that. Link in description. You should be seeing it right now. If you don't see it, it will be there retroactively. I'm not sure how YouTube puts the descriptions up. So it's either there right now or it will be there when I'm done streaming. So there you go. Guys, don't care about the Stones. The guys I work with don't care about the Stones. I misunderstood that. Yeah, the guys I work with don't care about the Stones. It's not for everybody. Guys, either guys in the crew, flats are just like, cool, Stones. I'm a Zeppelin fan. That's my go-to. I'm a Zeppelin guy. However, the Stones are amazing. Everybody that influences, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, Beatles. I love all that stuff. So yeah, it doesn't have to be for everybody. Let's see here. Do you still have the 2JZ? Lyric says it. No, I do not. I had a 2JZ single turbo Supra, about 600 horsepower. It's a monster. We took off the stock twins, put on a single dual ball bearing turbo. It wasn't like 1,000 horsepower, race car, but 600 is plenty on the road. It was rowdy, but I don't have it anymore. Greg says mash them down, Greg. Mash them ropes. And I'm getting down here to the end of the chat. I'm scrolling all the way down. Scott says, how many delays are on? Dual delay. So you have a left delay and a right delay. You can get there with a dotted eighth kind of sound, and most like the Universal Audio one will do it. I use the Strymon Timeline. It'll do it. Like any modern delay will do it. So dotted eighth. And then I have them set, industry standard 350, 375 on one side, 500 on the other. Nothing crazy. Your season to taste will come into the modulation, the grit, the degradation of the delays. Like, check, this is where I like it. So there's a little bit of mod on there, just a little bit. And it's only on the delays, right? So it provides just a little bit of tape warble. That's season to taste. I can't tell you how much or how little of that you will like. I just get in there and kind of turn it. I'm like, ooh, that's the spot. That's the one. And that's the way I advise everyone to dial in your amps, your gears, your pedals. Everybody's like, what are your gearbox settings? And I always respond with, what amp? Because I just go, that's the one. All right, that's the one for today, Larry says, hey, Andy, can you play some Waves? I don't remember it. I used to know it. That's all I remember of it. Something like that. I'll go back and relearn it for you. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was 12 years ago since I played it, so I don't remember it. Here we go here. If you want to learn more about the Vidami and the Vidami Blue, click the link below. Thanks to our moderators. Thanks to Chuck. Thanks, Vidami, for running the moderation. Thanks for joining us today. And the last couple of licks here. Hey, Andy, what do you think about Thin Lizzy and the guys that play? Man, I love Thin Lizzy. I mean, that's all you can say. I mean, Thin Lizzy's incredible. Alex Hutchings, Guthrie, Michael loves those guys. Michael Rizzo's saying those are his dudes. Brent, no fine. I mean, like, yeah. But you know what? It's like I can't get all of my flavors with just Alex and Guthrie and Brent. Like, not as a player, like what I put out, but like as a consumer, what I want to take in. Like, I got to have that Derek Trucks. I got to have a little slop, too. Just a little grease, like a player that's not refined. Like Slash, Billy Gibbons. Like, those aren't refined shred guys. And it's like if I had to imagine my musical diet without a Billy Gibbons solo, I just assume not have it. I gotta have that grease, man. When things get too perfect and that's the only music I'm allowed to consume, that's another thing with being a guitarist. We're big on this like competitive thing, and I'm just like, just take just a second and time out. Like, do you want Billy Gibbons to sound like Brett Garsett or Holdsworth or something? Like, no. Angus Young, like, what if everybody sounded like as slick as Holdsworth or Guthrie? You're just like, no, please, God, no. And it's not that I don't love Guthrie and Holdsworth, and my buddy Tom Quell's super clean. Like, I try to play really clean, you know? It's like, but I gotta have a little bit of that bacon sizzle and that grease. I gotta have a little, like, in my diet, I want to have just that Malcolm Young, that B.B. King, that Freddie King. Freddie King's a guy that's just greasy. It's dangerous feeling. I think Ian Thornley is a great blend of like technical firepower and then some filth, you know, where it's just not safe guitar playing. And I gotta have that. That's the Jimmy Page. I gotta have the Jimmy Page. So, yeah. I get what you're saying, Alex and Guthrie and Brent Mason. So like yeah, they are, but man, the boundaries are not limited to those technical wizards. Like man, you know, Gary Clark Jr. Like, I'm all about the way he plays guitar. He puts on like the most raucous, rowdy, gross sounding guitar tone. Like, if y'all don't know about Gary Clark Jr.'s guitar playing, go get learned. Because it is just dangerous sounding. You're just like, man, mom's going to ground me if she catches me listening to this. You know, it's like that kind of guitar playing. And I got to have that in my diet. You know what I mean? Joe Perry's got the grease. Greg Koch calls it the gristle. You got to have that gristle, man. Got to have it. Thank you guys so much. This is where if I've recently got a Stream Deck and I'm gonna start playing Happy Trails to you. I'm gonna load up that Van Halen thing, and that's gonna be our farewell. Thank you guys for joining us once again on a delightful Telly Tuesday. And yes, let everyone chime in and say this is not a Telecaster because it's got humbuckers and a whammy bar and all that stuff, and it's 24 frets, whatever. Jimmy Page had a 24 fret Telecaster. I saw it. That's where I got the idea. So, boom, there you go. Telly Tuesday. Not a telly, but it's where it came from. You know what I'm saying? Talk to you guys real soon. I'll be putting together a delightful Woodshed episode from our Opry antics. Tune in for that. Do me two favors. Go to andywoodmusic.com. Get signed up for that email list. If you're interested in the Woodshed Guitar Experience, that's my camp that I do. It's 3 days of in-person hang. Your price includes your hotel, your camp, your cabin, however you like to stay, your food, your alcohol. Musical guests this year, Tom Quell, Nick Johnston, Mark Letary, Greg Koch, Martin Miller, myself, people that I cannot announce yet because we're hoping their tour schedules line up. Be awesome if they do, but I've seen their names in the chat, so if you want to know somebody that might be here, their name is in the chat. We just got to make sure that their tour schedule lines up. So yeah, there you have it. That's woodshedguitarexperience.com, patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. If you want more licks, we got 300 some odd videos over there. Do master classes, one-on-one lessons, all that stuff is at patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic, AndyWoodMusic.com for the email list, Vidami.com to get your hands on one of these sweet rides and get you learn on. Make life easier on yourself. Stop punching yourself in the face like I did with the bar and the wrong slider. And go over there and get that thing. Use the Woodshed 10 code. Get you a discount. Thanks as always for hanging out. We'll see you next week.